if it's not with DJ E Boogie, 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 Boogie.
Infamous DJ E Boogie.
So crazy when you're right back. Love when you keep it coming, 3 dots that. Our conversation keeps stimulation. Cause nowadays, it ain't like that. I make it known I want you with you. You let me know you waited so gently. I wanna make you mine quickly. Ready for time to build energy. So baby, meet me, name a time and place. I know it's worth it to see a smile on your face. I'm just a mile away. Let's do some things. No time to waste. That you're mine, no take back out. Make sure it's her. It's quite simple, it's a full letter word. Down, 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 down. I wanna be down, down. With you I go down, 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 down.
It's DC's best kept secret, the infamous DJ E Boogie.
Miami like the city girls, yeah. Shawty twerking like the city girls, yeah. Man, it's something by the city girl. They be with you.
Digital devices on, tune into the trendiest team in town, bringing you music, great guests, hot topics, and lifestyle views that's going on now. It's the Miss O Show, O Show. It's the Miss O Show, O Show. It's the Miss O Show, O Show. It's the Miss O Show. We're about to get this poppin' now. O Show.
That edge ain't coming off.
Right.
Hey.
Welcome back. Y'all caught us in mid-conversation. That's all right, though. Welcome back to the Miss O Show.
Welcome back. Yes. Happy Miss O Show Day.
Oh, and look, we got a new logo at the bottom. Check it. Look at that.
All right.
We
There
made
you go.
it. We do it. Y'all see us on the bottom of the screen.
I need to get another picture so I can be in there like,
okay.
blowing kisses and whatnot.
Throwing it up real quick.
Shout out out to Trump for hooking us up with that. That's some good look right there. I like that. That's some good shit.
The one good Trump.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Welcome everyone.
Hello,
It is Monday, your extended weekend.
Yes.
How is everyone doing?
I'm good. I had a great day. Been chilling though. I had a great day though.
That's a
I'm
good
here
thing.
now. First of all, I'm here now.
You're welcome.
You know what? But yes, thank you very much. This brings light to my week.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, typically most people don't look forward to Mondays, but I look forward to Mondays.
True enough.
I get to see these two beautiful people. I get to share 2 hours with these beautiful people.
Loving life.
Loving life. Because, of course, you know, it's not work when you do what you love.
This part.
So we get to come and cut up for 2 hours and bring you guys pure entertainment as we always do.
Absolutely.
Definitely want to give a shout out, of course, to Gary Simpson and DJ E Boogie for the intro that you guys saw when you tuned in and we first got started. I want to make sure that you haven't done so already. Make sure that you download the RIP Radio app. It makes it super easy to listen to us. It's interactive. You can watch us live. You can be on the go, in your car, all that good stuff. And it just makes it super easy. So make sure that you do that. And as always, you know, we always like to start our show
Absolutely.
with some positive juju
and zen and happiness.
so that we can have an awesome show.
Yes. So I'm going to bring you, I got to use my common voice, y'all. I'm going to bring you the show affirmation for this evening. And the affirmation for this evening is, do not go where your path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail.
Ooh. Oh, wait. Can we get a repeat on that one?
Yes, I got to do a calmer voice so
We
it
need-
can sink
yeah, we need to
into
get
your
another one.
juju.
Let me-
Okay? Are you listening? Are you intaking and internalizing what I'm giving you today? Okay, so the affirmation is, do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there's no path and leave a trail.
God damn. Yes. I hope you guys felt that out there, okay? I hope y'all
Leave a trail.
felt that because
Sure
damn
enough.
it, we trying to leave trails.
All kind of trails.
That's what
I've
we
been
trying
thinking
to
about
do.
that all day today too.
Well, leaving
Leaving
trails?
trails?
That's the same thing.
Trails.
Well, see, I guess it resonated. You know,
Right.
y'all was having some
That was
telepathy going on
confirmation to my
here.
thoughts earlier.
And again, you're welcome.
Well, I mean, it depends on what type of trail you were thinking about leaving, you know,
Right,
because
right.
It's definitely not a trail. It's undisclosed location.
okay. Don't be leaving no
Can
like
we get a breadcrumb?
no
It won't be
Snoopy snacks.
disaster.
You trying to leave some Snoopy snacks?
I know. Can we get some breadcrumbs so you can be up in your business?
You know he'll never
It'll
like
be a
us
fun
out
show to
his
follow,
business.
though. It'll
No,
definitely be a fun show to
that
follow.
frightens me slightly. I don't even want to know.
Hey, I mean, 'cause you'll never give us nothing. You know,
You
we
don't
get
give us
like
nothing.
little bits
Smoke
and pieces.
signals,
Just,
nothing.
just keep you coming back.
Black people always want to be mysterious, don't they?
All the damn time for no damn reason. Oh my God. Shout out to everybody that's listening to us on Facebook. We appreciate you too. Even if you're not listening to us on the app, we appreciate you for listening to us on Facebook because we love to be able to look at your comments. We always read your comments. We try to get every single comment read on air, and we love how interactive you guys are. So it truly means a lot to us. But guess what y'all can do to make us love y'all even more? Share. You
we
can
talking about
share.
You
You can share.
Please do. Share out this
Share.
greatness so
Share.
everyone. You know how we light up his life? We trying to light up other
That's
lives.
right.
We trying to light up everybody
One
else's.
button at a time.
One
Yes.
button at a
One
time.
button at a time.
Tell your mama, your sister, your
That's
cousin,
right.
your brother, your uncle, your father, your baby daddy, your second baby mama. Tell all of them, okay?
Exactly. Or second baby daddy.
Second baby daddy.
Okay.
And we also want you to call us.
There we
Come
go.
on.
Now I'm ready.
They were like this.
I was like, yeah, share.
But both of them were like,
He's trying to make it sound like he giving us.
okay. Yes. Oh my God. I just love y'all so much.
Oh, have mercy.
So how was everyone's weekend, man? Let's get into it. I'm going to start first because I never start first. I'm always last. So I'm going to let y'all, you know, I'm going to start first. My weekend, of course, was busy as damn always. I did, let me see. So I did happy hour on Friday. I went to a new spot called Cafe 44. which was dope. Apparently, it was it used to be a cafeteria, like a cafeteria in a business, like a law firm or something, and they actually turned it into a restaurant. So it was really dope. So I went there, and then we left there. We went to this place called Sisters, which was nice too. The food was really good. That was Friday. Saturday, I went to VA. I took my girlfriend out for her birthday, so we went to. No, I'm sorry. That was Saturday. I went to DC. We went to Station 4 for her birthday. And then Sunday was mini-me time. You know, I was trying to get in the time with the mini-me. And I took her to Mike's Crab House.
Oh, nice.
In, what is that? Annapolis.
Nice.
And she was like, "Oh, mommy, you know, I didn't even expect you to go place like this."
Surprise, surprise.
You know, surprise, surprise. So that was really the weekend. I mean,
Nice.
you know, it's.
I'm tired yet again listening to your weekend.
I'm tired
Right.
too. I really am tired.
Look, I don't even want to give my part. You're going to be like, oh, okay. That's
No.
the end.
I really don't know how I do it. That's why I say all the time, I'm like, it's so hard to balance because, you know, you just like, there's birthdays and there's
Right.
and someone's getting married and someone's
It's always
graduating and then there's events, you know, there's Halloween,
Right.
it's just
Always
a lot.
something. It's always something.
And the balance is real because I be wanting to just sleep. I'm like, yo, I'm lazy. I can't do
I
it.
kind of had the same weekend though.
I'm sure you did, because both of y'all don't be looking at me like I'm always the one
Okay,
being in the streets, damn
I'm sitting here waiting. I'm like, that's what she said. Wait till my part come. Go ahead. Wait till my part come. I'm gonna show her something. Go ahead. I'll wait. I'm gonna use this to my advantage. I'll wait. Go ahead.
Still practicing that sit your ass down and shit. Still practicing that sit your ass down.
I want to practice
I
it
went
with
to 5
you.
different places. And sat my ass down.
Sat your ass down.
5 different places though.
Well, I want to hear about it then, damn it. Tell us all about your beautiful weekend,
You know,
darling.
you already know this
You look
story.
very fabulous tonight,
Thank
too, by the way. I just want to let you
We
know.
got the pop back. We
Yes.
got the pop back.
I missed the
That's
pop.
because
I missed the pop. I love
It was
it.
1 week.
But it was 1 week too much. We like the pop,
You were
okay?
dark last week.
I was intense.
Right.
Don't try to skip by your undisclosed activities.
Wait a minute.
We want to hear all the tea.
We're talking about you right now.
No, actually, we're not.
You sure? She
No,
did just
it
ask
is kind of
you.
your turn.
Y'all do see what I be going. Y'all do see what I be going through, right? I just
It
want
is
y'all to
kind of your
understand.
turn, sir. You got to tell us what you did for your weekend.
Look how this getting ready.
What are you allowed to release?
Look how this getting ready.
All right,
go,
look what information are you allowed to release? What clearance we need?
Friday, I pretty much chilled. I sat my ass down Friday. I ain't going anywhere.
Okay.
Saturday, my man Micah had a birthday party out Greenboat. Went there, turned up with him. I think I stopped past Jasper's or something. Got
Okay.
something to eat. Went home.
How's
chilled out.
Jasper's now? Is it back and popping or is still kind of?
It probably got its moments.
Okay.
'Cause I used to be up there every day when I lived right down the street.
Yeah,
from
it used to be like a club.
Right. They used to get my money like a club.
Yeah.
Not more. But Sunday, saw the kids early Sunday. Then my sister Melinda, she had a birthday. So went over there to celebrate her birthday. So it was a birthday-filled weekend.
There was a lot of birthday
Birthday
celebrations.
And had a ball at all. Good conversation, good fun, good, drinks, atmosphere, vibe, that good stuff.
So you had a good weekend.
I had a great weekend.
I like that.
And
That's
I rested
good.
before I actually did it, so I wasn't tired.
See, you weren't
by Sunday
tired.
night.
I can say I felt like the same thing this weekend. The weekend before, I was tired. I was tired, baby. I was like, yo, mama ain't built for this. Because normally I'm a one-hitter quitter. Like, listen, we going to go here or we going to go here. Which one we going to? Because we ain't going to both.
Right, we ain't gonna be jumping.
Can't
We
be
ain't gonna be
jumping
jumping,
around.
right.
I don't even like doing that when you going grocery shopping and you going on a Saturday and you running errands. I hate the in and out the car constantly. That tires
I'm going
me
to
out.
One store and one store only.
We
That's
better
it.
get groceries and food and clothes and toiletries and everything
stop.
at one
Oh, yeah.
spot. And you, my darling, how was your weekend? We're excited to hear. Let's go.
Are y'all prepared? You want a drum roll?
We are so excited.
You know what,
Let's go,
let
baby.
me start here. There you go.
And I will present what Nana did this weekend. Not a damn thing. Thank you very much. I'll be here all night, guys.
That is a miracle.
And when I say
Not a damn thing,
not
for real.
a damn thing.
I'm jealous.
She practiced
I'm
that. She
jelly.
said,
Look,
jelly.
I'm on some Zen shit right now.
I'm
I'm on
jelly.
some back to bases. I'm back to
You're
basics.
glowing though. That's good.
I'm
shit.
glowing because I've been minding the hell out of my business and staying out the way.
Baby, that's what you gotta do.
And that's what I've been doing because I'm yet again, reinventing myself to get to this higher level in life. And sometimes you need some isolation.
Yes, you do.
So I'm in isolation
That's
mode.
key.
And Sunday, actually, I was at home, but I did clean my house. As you know, I'm a minimalist.
Yes.
So whenever I need to, I guess you want to say level up in life,
Right.
I purge.
Purge, yes.
So my boyfriend
That's
was so
key.
mad at me because I was like, "Do you use this? Nope. Do you use this? Nope. Do you use this? Nope." And he was like, "You ain't even thinking about it." I said, "Cause I have a
Leash
whole
your ass.
Yeah.
look.
Right.
I asked for most things. Other things, I was like,
Yep. Because let me tell you, if it's been like a year or 2 years and you haven't used it or wore it,
Yeah, it gotta
listen,
go.
it's gotta go. You ain't
and
even
see, the
tripping
thing
off of
is,
it.
my boyfriend, he can build almost anything, which means that there's a bunch of crap in the house. So, like, stuff that's not supposed to be in a home. I'm like, why is there a steel pipe in the living room? In this DC high-rise apartment, there is steel pipes
'Cause he got
and wood
plans for that
pallets.
steel
No, I will
pipe.
give it to him. He is very, very
I
talented.
mean, like, listen,
and you never know. You never know what he's going to build with it. You never know.
baby, he got plans for that steel
Look,
pipe.
Look,
and that
here we go. I
wood.
knew y'all just had to do that.
Straight to that room over
Lord
there.
Jesus.
With that,
Look,
rectangle
besides what they had to do, so I purged.
He gonna,
I had
he
to
gonna
go
put
to-
that joint at the bottom of the bed, lift the bed up. His bed gonna be on the incline while
Yes,
y'all doing
baby,
that. That's gonna fuck your whole world
yes,
up.
okay.
You know what?
That's why
Whatever.
it's there.
That's where that pipe.
Look.
That's where that pipe and that wood come in.
Look, times and trials of dating somebody who is a great repairman.
See, well, girl, let me tell you something. That's the good shit.
Ain't that the same thing?
Because let me
Ain't
tell you
that-
something. Having a great repairman is some good stuff. It can save you a lot of damn
Oh,
money.
I know.
When you don't have to call
No.
somebody for every damn thing.
and
that's
he's
going on
probably
in your
watching.
house.
He probably like, yeah, that's what I do. Yes, baby,
Yes,
that's what you
baby.
do.
Be happy with that shit, because
I am. No,
you
I'm
don't want
happy.
to be in my.
He bring
He
that
can
wood
fix-
and he
he
bring
can-
that steel.
Okay, sir. And then I spent the day with my daughter. I went and got her a pumpkin. I'm trying to go back to simple things. We went to
Good.
the pumpkin patch,
Aw.
picked out a pumpkin, and we sat and painted it together. And I also got ready because I started school today.
She said,
So I had to get mentally prepared for that.
well,
But that's all I
hopefully
did.
the pumpkin patch situation was less expensive than the apple picking.
Oh, child, when I say
Right.
whatever.
Remember the apple picking?
I know. No, she's traumatized for me. She was like, "Mom, all I wanted these 2 pumpkins." I said, "Baby, how
Right.
much is that?" She said, "It's $5 total." I was like, "Go take it to the front."
Okay.
I said, "You want a cupcake too? Go ahead and throw that in there.
Go
throw
get
that in there."
another- Right.
'Cause I
Go
remember
get
that-
another.
that-
It was
damn
no.
old
I told her, I
apple
said,
picker.
never again. That thing was $6. We had a great time, and we went to Dollar Tree and got some paint and got it done.
See, super simple. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
See?
Well, it sounds like everybody had a good weekend, you know, and I do envy your weekend because
Look.
Right.
I'm gonna have me one of those. I really.
Guess what
am.
I'm doing next weekend?
Same damn thing.
Same damn thing.
Well, I'm trying to join you.
Halloween, you gonna do something.
I know.
For trick or treating.
You have your event.
Oh, okay. You a minimalist for real.
Let me see.
You a minimalist for real.
I'm a sip on it. And on that note, we're gonna talk about tonight's show, baby.
Yes.
Because listen to me, we are excited
Yes.
about tonight's
And
show.
they, they've been
okay?
waiting on this
I
too.
got
I've had
Yes.
so many people that are so excited about tonight's topic.
Right.
When we came up with this topic, it was like, you know what? All of us have seen, the memes. We've seen people we know posting, people we don't know postings. The men are against the women are against the men. It just seems like men and women are really struggling to connect, and not just in the dating scene as far as people being single. Marriages, people are having a hard time staying connected.
Right.
Relationships, all of that. So men and women are really struggling to be able to connect with each other and understand each other. So what we wanted to do tonight is we wanted to have a round table. We wanted to have a round table discussion. Of course, we had to have 2 men, 2 women, and we wanted to just lay out some of the issues that we have gotten, because what we did is we basically reached out to a few people and we asked them. Some are single, some are married, some are in a relationship. We have men, we have women, we have all different ages.
Yep.
And we wanted them to give us some of the issues that they have dealt with and they have been seeing. And we're going to talk about it, we're going to discuss it. But not only that, we're also going to come up with some type of solutions.
Yeah, you gotta have
Because
solutions.
Yeah, I wanna
everyone's
hear
tired of talking about it. Everybody's tired of talking about
They
it.
didn't talk to it to death.
You talk about it to
death.
death, but no
death.
one tries to come up with some solutions.
Yes.
So, of course, you know, we all feel like we experts up here, too.
That's right. I know I am.
You know,
'Cause I am.
mean, we
I
know
am.
this stuff.
I do.
But in order to really, you know, make this topic, you know, give it the best that it can.
Factual.
We got live in studio, okay? Live in studio, Bashea Williams. He is a CEO, licensed psychotherapist, and author, okay? He is going to be joining us live in studio, and he's going to be with us all night, okay? He's going to be sitting with us all night, and he's going to help us to break down this issue, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to come up with some solutions.
Help me help you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Help me help you.
Yes. And as like we said before, we want to hear from you guys. We want to know what are some issues that you've dealt with. We want you to call us. You can chime in on the Facebook comments.
That's right.
Any old kind of way. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a very quick break. And then when we come back, hopefully our guests will be here because, you know, it's raining over here. I know everybody's listening all over the world, but it's raining here. So hopefully our guests will be here when we come back. If not, we'll start the topic anyway. All right. So we're going to take a quick DJ E Boogie Indie Mix break. And when we come back, we're going to jump right into our roundtable called Bridging the Gap.
Bridging the Gap.
Miss Osho.
It's DC's best kept secret. The infamous DJ E Boogie. Boogie.
Get money out here. Nah, like we really get money. Yeah. My new watch on TikTok. Diamonds dancing, TikTok. Kelly Hansen, drip, drop. New designer, flip flops. I get money, big knots. Might go viral, tick, top. Look at her go. Got the biggest boat I know. All she wanna do is show it off. Turn around, go viral. Turn around, go viral. Turn around, go viral.
You're not doing it big if it's not with DJ E Boogie.
Turn around, go viral. They know me and Heat go way back. Strapped with the heat, stay back. They ain't love me back then. Now I charge double, that's payback. Y'all in trouble indeed. Make a run like DMC. Yeah, I moved to the A, but my heart in a DMB. Put your hands up, rock 'em. Put your legs out, drop 'em. Corvette. Soon as I pull up, rob 'em. Used to never fit in, now they can't get in. Everywhere that I go, a problem. Said I used to be a Bama. Now I'm riding by while you still walking. You Santana. And I'm flying high, might go viral if I Instagram you. And if you need that work, I got it for you. I'll Instagram you. Hold up. My new watch on TikTok. Diamonds dancing, TikTok. Kelly Hansen, drip, drop. New designer, flip flops. I get money, big knots. Might go viral, tick, top. Look at her go. Got the biggest boat I know. All she wanna do is show it off. Turn around, go viral. Turn around, go viral. Turn around, go viral. Turn around, go viral. Turn around, go viral.
DJ E Boogie got heat.
Coming in hot, just like the fajita. I write what I live, my life in the speaker. I'm nice with the flow, just like the demeanor. I'm feeding my fam, I'm feeding the meter. They got the iron while I got the steamer. I bring the fire, but you never seen her. I testify, I don't need a subpoena. They want my soul, better go to Korea. I love my dog just like I'm Peter. Gotta protect him. I made the call it with just like I'm repping. I know we left, yeah, now we back together, but I guess that is better now. Later than never, like, what's happening? I'ma need y'all quit asking when. Me and my wife gonna have some kids. Right now we just practicing. Teacher said quit rapping, man. That gon' hurt my average. I said thank God I ain't average. Yeah, I'm a bright young man. Kill the GPA and the BPM. Look, we on. So say what you say, cause that's A with Lecrae. From the A train to the A, I'm coming in. I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot. I'm coming in.
It's DC's best kept secret, the infamous DJ E Boogie.
Miami like the city girls, yeah. Shawty twerking like the city girls, yeah. Man, it's something by the city girl. They be with you, told you like the city girl. Big, that's a meal ticket. And she ain't scared to bust it down for a real.
You're not doing it big if it's not with DJ E Boogie.
That's a meal ticket. Big, that's a meal ticket. Big, that's a meal ticket. And she ain't scared to bust it down. Just like Megan, she ain't rich, tabby. She don't broke. I'm telling, in Miami, we wild, baby. College, and she twerking like Miami. I'm prepared for college. Hit it like a pinata, what's it? Pina colada. Gotta act like Malaya and the audience inspired, cause she a city girl, a real city girl. She can't throw that back to shawty, really is irrelevant. Miami like the city girls, yeah. Shawty twerking like the city girls, yeah. Man, it's something by the city girl. They be with you, the city girl. Big, that's a meal ticket. And she ain't scared to bust it down for a real.
Yeah,
She ain't really
let's get into it. Yeah. Hey, you are now rocking with the best. The real life, this is not a test. All I need is a little time, just a minute more, not a second less. All the mother went and took a rest, but these queens went and took it left. These bars, you gon' need a rest. Cause these bars are some lethal weapons. That's 9 on the beat. Got Roddy MC, Queen. We bomb when you know warning, so keep calm when you speak. No, set it off with a bang. We about to murder the gang. Whether you heard of me or not, I'm making sure niggas remember the name. So how'd I figure the flame? Coco, they say I'm sick in the brain. Me and you, we not the same. I'm in a whole nother lane. Say what you wanna, but you wanna pull me, I hit you. So with them things. That's when you know I ain't playing. What the fuck is you saying?
All right.
Welcome back.
Welcome
In
back.
studio on the Miss O Show. We have
Can we
Mr.
get
Paul
something
Williams.
different?
What?
Okay.
Then welcome back.
Yes.
You want something different? See,
You remix
I thought that was my thing real quick. It's
That's
not my
your
thing
thing?
no more. Okay,
Okay.
I'll switch
Just
it up next
remix
Monday.
it.
Well, fine.
Yeah,
We'll let
I'll
you have
remix it. I'll
welcome
remix it.
back.
See how we going into topic. Controlling women.
Whatever.
Controlling women. Y'all see?
All right, guys. We don't need this today. We ain't doing it.
Welcome back, everyone. It is the Miss O Show with Swangin' and Nina. We are live. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Shout out to DJ E Boogie for that indie mix that we just heard. And like we said, we were going to take a break. When we came back, we were going to dive right into this round table.
Yeah.
I have sitting next to me Bashea
Hey, what's going on? How
Williams.
y'all
Yes,
doing?
thank you for
There it is.
joining
Welcome,
us.
welcome.
Glad to be here. Glad to be
Thank you.
here.
I know you had to come through typhoon.
Yeah, so much rain. So I'm a little bit wet right now,
No,
but
it's okay.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for
That's
these
what's up.
conversations.
Man, well, thank you so very much for joining us. Before we get into the round table and we get into our discussion, if you can just let everyone know a little bit about who you are.
Sure. I'm Paul Bashea Williams. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, psychotherapist, author of Dear Future Wife, A Man's Guide on Women's Reference to Healthy Relationships. I'm the co-owner of One Love Alliance with my beautiful wife, Tara Gates Williams. I'm a father, brother, but I will give a disclaimer. Although I'm a therapist, I'm not providing therapy in this session. We're
Yes.
just having a conversation. So
Yes.
if you hear something from me,
Yes.
you didn't hear from your therapist.
Yes.
You need to be a
Yes.
client. Okay? So
Don't
we're
be
cool.
like what he said.
Right.
The therapy I got was.
Right, exactly.
He told me to go out here and do this.
Right.
And now he liable. We don't want to make him
Right,
liable.
perfect
Exactly.
disclaimer. Well, wonderful, and we wanted to bring you on because again, the topic we're talking about is bridging the gap. We were saying that we feel as though we've all seen, whether it's issues, whether it's in marriages or relationships, or even people dating, where men or women are just really having a hard time just connecting here,
Right, absolutely.
and it really bothered me as well as all of us, and we really wanted to have this round table to kind of talk about it. So the format of the round table is what we wanted to kind of do was talk about, to start off with, we wanted to talk about the breakdown of everything, and then we wanted to kind of go into addressing some of the issues. What I did was I reached out to we reached out to a few people that we knew. It was men, women, married, engaged, divorced, single, 8 different ages, and asked them that question, like, what have been some issues that you've seen when you're trying to connect with the opposite sex? So then we're going to go on that. And then, of course, we want to talk about some solutions, all right?
Okay.
So the first question that we want to kind of bring to the table is, why do you feel that there is a breakdown of connecting between men and women?
There's so many answers to that. The way you were brought up, where you've experienced relationships growing up, the different disconnects of the thought process around relationships, what you need, what you want, expecting everything to be perfect, so many different things. It's just the overall thought process about what a relationship is to you. And sometimes people don't agree with that, and they expect another person to move outside of themselves to be something that they need.
Definitely. What about you? Yeah.
I kind of agree. I think one of my biggest issues when dealing with relationships is the expectation of it all. Like, you accept someone initially for, who they are, but then all of a sudden you want to kind of like tweak them a little bit. You know what I'm saying? To fit your mold. So those are one of the issues that I have. So I got questions on that too.
What about you, Nana? What do you feel is
what he said? I feel like sometimes with relationships, people forget that people were individuals before the relationship, and they're going to be individuals during the relationship and after. And people have in their mind who the perfect mate is, what the perfect mate does, and then you have on the flip side what society says a mate that loves you should do.
Right.
And people come up with this long, most of the time, unrealistic list of what their mate should be doing or shouldn't be doing, and they just get lost in it. That's what I think. And I feel like sometimes it just gets lost in translation on both ends because we worry about everything other than actually learning the person we're with.
Right.
And the thing is like, we're that's relationships as well. But when it comes down to like even dating, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's sometimes there's a hard time connecting even in that playing field. Like, what are your thoughts as far as that? Like when you're just meeting someone, say like you're single and you're just meeting someone and you just really, want to be in a relationship, but you're just having a hard time connecting to them. Why do you feel like there's a breakdown when it comes down to even something like that?
I think a lot of people have expectations. Like, if I'm going into dating, this should be my husband, this should be my wife, this should be my partner, this should be everything.
Yeah.
And so I haven't even gotten to know this person, but I'm already at the outcome. And you're not meeting the outcome of the person, and you didn't even know him.
Yes.
So we skip a lot of processes. We don't ask enough questions.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I also do think that when it comes down to dating, like you said, expectations is huge, but it's also the fact that, a lot of people go into dating and they don't even know what they really want. I feel like that's a problem too.
Yeah.
Like they go into it and they're kind of like all willing to, whatever it is, and then they, project that and they're like, okay, I'm okay with the way that things are going.
Right.
Then when it goes the way that things are going, they're like, but I want more.
That's that tweak.
Or I didn't expect it to be like this.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted more. You know what I mean?
They think they know what they want, and then they think they know what they want because they feel like that's what they should want.
Yes.
And then they get it, and they're like, wait.
That's the idea of it all. You know what I'm saying? That's just the idea of it all.
Yeah, they want the idea.
We all want a perfect situation, but
Right.
unfortunately, people don't realize it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah. No, definitely not. Do we feel like social media or TV has anything to do with, the disconnect?
Absolutely. If I go on social media and see somebody happy and I'm upset in my relationship, then I'm thinking I should be there.
Woo.
And so I want to move out of my relationship.
Wow.
TV says a lot of different things too, depending on what you're watching. Because it's unrealistic. Like, even on reality TV is scripted.
Right.
So the misconception of what a real relationship is so distorted.
Yeah, because I don't understand them housewife shows. I'm sorry. Because a lot of women, they might not truly model themselves out, after them.
I get that.
But they take a part of that certain person from the show and implement that into their lives.
So you mean they kind of have those expectations? Oh, well, he's doing this, and he put her in this house, and he bought this car and these bags and all this kind of stuff, and they kind of have those type of expectations.
So it's that same thing, yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel like what you were saying as far as like social media, like people can say all day long that they may not compare their lives
they do.
They do.
Right.
They do.
And sometimes it's hard. I mean, if we're being really real, sometimes it's hard. It's not necessarily always about relationships. It could be about like, you want a bigger house and you see someone else that's got a bigger house and you're kind of like, dang, I'm in an apartment, but I want a bigger house. I deserve that. I should be doing that. You know what I mean? So
I feel like I tell people all the time, social media is a highlight reel. That is not their real lives. They show the highlights because who's going to show like, oh, me and my significant other got in a fight, and then all of a sudden, you know how it goes. They'll show the person they're all in love with that person. Next thing you know, the person vanishes. Yeah. And we're like, where'd he go? You know what I mean? And it's like, wait, I got questions. I know who's all invested. Who get custody of my life? Because I didn't put in on this. You can't just take this away from me. You know what I mean? And I feel like memes. I have a vendetta with relationship memes. They anger me. It's deep. Every time I see a relationship, I'm like, because I feel like the memes. Because it's even been times in my relationship where we're going through stuff and I see a meme saying, "Oh, girl, I wouldn't take that. I would leave." Yeah, and I'm like, "Are you gonna be there?" Or that never settle crap. Like sometimes people confuse compromise with settling. And it's like stuff like that. It's just But yeah.
Now you've been married you're married and you've been married. I mean, if you don't mind, how long have you been married? And like, how did not to go all into detail, but we brought you on, and of course, people, more than likely inspired to be like you and your beautiful wife, Tara. So, like, how did that happen, and like, what advice would you give? Like, because of course, I'm for sure there may have been challenges and all of that. So,
yeah, we 20 minutes in the game. We got married in 2020.
Okay, well, listen, honey, listen. But it's 2021.
Yeah. I think for me, I know, and a lot of men too, we got to sit with ourselves for a minute. Like, we like to get out there and try to heal through other women, heal through other experiences, and do all those different things. We got to just sit down for a minute and just chill and really identify what we want and how we want to show up in relationships.
Wow.
Because a lot of times we don't say stuff, and then we get resentment, and then we respond to it later.
Right.
But if I say something early, like, that was one of the first things I did was communicate to my wife. Before, when we first started dating, I let her know everything. What I didn't like, what I needed, what I was willing to give, all those different things. And if we couldn't meet that, then we was like, okay, so let's continue this business relationship.
So you were able to give her like a blueprint of like, hey, these are the things that I need. This is what I'm not feeling. This is what I'm not liking.
But it was along the way. It wasn't like this list.
Right.
If I saw something, I said something.
Right.
If she saw something, she said something. And then we worked it out. We went to counseling together.
Nice.
As a therapist, I'm in therapy for my relationship. My relationship has a therapist.
Wow.
I have my personal therapist. I am a therapist. Yeah. She has a personal therapist.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
And that is definitely one of the questions on here that I was going to... That's definitely one of the questions on the list I was going to mention about therapy, because, it's like such a stigma, especially with, us in the Black community. Like, therapy, I don't need nobody tell me what to do. I'm fine. I don't need no... Like, and I've heard so many people say that's, like, so important. It's
a place where you can just be yourself. Like, you don't have to hide. You don't have to sugarcoat. You don't have to disclaimers. You can just be yourself and share anything you need to say. It's so funny because some men come in, be like, I don't need no help. I'm not really here to help. I'm helping you process what you need to process.
Right.
Like, I'm not here to tell you what to do. And sometimes you just need a place that is no judgment.
Yes. Right. Yes.
I don't have to have the machismo and be rough and tough. I can just come in and just have a conversation. There's no competition between us.
Right.
We're just talking.
Yeah. No, definitely. So then what we're going to do now is we want to kind of go into addressing some of the issues. Like I said, we reached out to a few different people and we asked them some questions. And so the question that we kind of asked them was, what are some issues that you have dealt with when trying to connect with or maintain a connection with the opposite sex? So to start off, we have Robert. He is a 41-year-old male, and he says, he's a 41-year-old male, and he's married, okay? So he said unreasonable attitude. Sometimes we feel like we have to walk on eggshells, not knowing what will turn a good day bad, not being able to move past issues already been solved, and throwing up old stuff in your face. So
I'm laughing because my boyfriend's like, she's like, thank you, thank you. He probably looking at the phone like this. I see you. I already know you are. I'm just like, oh. He go, what a therapist on your show said. I can hear it now. Go ahead, take your notes, but I know you can.
Stop. Bashea, we're gonna start with you. What is your thoughts on that?
I think a lot of times we got to have the conversation outside of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're in a problem, we can't really connect. Everybody's defensive. Everybody has something to say. Everybody's right. But if we talk about something, like, hey, let's just sit down and talk about these particular issues, so they don't come up again the way they used to.
Mm.
And so we can have that conversation, and it's lighter.
Right.
And I'm saying, hey, we're putting the problem on the table. Let's address the problem as opposed to addressing each other.
Yeah. As they say, let's attack the problem instead of attacking each other.
I would say this is a we problem, not a me problem.
Yeah. Right. And I do think that, a lot of women get the whole, there's an attitude, you have an attitude type thing. But I'm so big on sometimes there's a cause and effect sometimes. I really believe that, you just have to put in some work to also learn your partner. You know what I mean? So this is a male, and he's talking about his wife. So there are times, and this is not an excuse, but there are times as women, it's our time of the month, and we want to kill everyone. If I literally, and you ask me one question, and my vibe and energy is a little stanky, okay. Roll with that and understand that this might not be the time to be coming at me with some craziness. This might mean that you might have to just let me have my 7 days. And then I might be able to come back with a better response. But I think it's also, it's about learning your partner.
Absolutely.
I feel like a lot of times, men want us to know them and learn them
or react to problems like they react to problems.
And react to problems like they react to problems. But unfortunately with women, it's a lot that also comes with us. Emotional. It's a little something.
I ask people, if I'm in a relationship with them or just, dating or whatever. If we go through something, just give me time.
Yeah.
Just let me process everything. Let me... Because if we have it right now, the conversation is not going to go well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that's rarely respected because of the emotion of...
I want to talk
about it right now. Like they say, never go to sleep mad, angry, or whatever.
That's not
I can go to sleep fine. I can go to sleep just fine.
Not real. Yeah.
Because we can talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But one thing that's not going to make it work is both of us, as you said, being in a defensive state.
Yes, I agree. You
Same. I try my best. I swear I do. But listen, at least I'm trying. A boyfriend takes some talk about, I'm all in the screen right now. I bet
she's
you
a Leo,
are.
So we're Leos,
but my thing is, because I'm very straight to the point. If there's an issue, I'm like, let's solve it. Yeah. And I have had to learn to just kind of, walk away from it and come back. Because he's right. When you talk about it and you're calm, you're speaking from a point of rationale. You're speaking from a point where take the emotion out of it. And then when you're trying to translate your issues to men, that's very important to kind of take the emotion out. Right. Because when you start talking too much emotion, it goes into peanuts mode. Wah, 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 wah. I already know. I don't have to know. I already know. I learned that the hard way. Because again, my boyfriend is a manly man. He's like, oh, here you go.
Yeah.
And then so I had to learn to be like, all right, let me talk about this when I'm calm.
Definitely.
Because it's hard.
Do you feel like the emotion part too? Because, like what she said, and I experienced that too. Like, when I'm, whether in the moment or I'm talking about something that's passionate to me and something that's really bothering me, like I'm a very emotion person.
And I'm a crier.
I am a crier. And that's me. And so like when I start talking, like it is waterworks and he breaks down because he's literally like, I don't know what's going on right here.
I'm gonna go back to the game.
I'm crying and like I don't know what to do with this, So I feel like. And what I was told is that what happens is sometimes when your mate, like your woman is coming to you and she's crying and she's emotional, what happens is the man sometimes he wants to soothe her because she's crying, and then what happens is the actual problem may get swept under the rug. Right. So what is your thoughts on that?
So we have to have emotional responsibility.
Yes.
Right. If you know that's your pattern, that you get emotional. So what do you need from him at that particular moment, as opposed to addressing the issue?
Don't be knowing.
Yeah.
Right. that's part of it, right? So maybe we both need to take a little time out, take a deep breath, and come back.
Right.
And maybe if the embrace is what you need at a particular time, you accept that and said, all right, let me hold you, then we'll come back to the issue.
So you're saying be vocal about what you need at that particular moment.
Absolutely. And then give him the space to say, what do you need from me at this particular moment? I need you to understand. I need you to fix it. But if he doesn't have the skills or tools, or he doesn't know what that is, then how can he set up? I mean, how can he help? How can he help if he doesn't know?
That's good stuff.
This is my dude right here.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I love it. I knew he was going to give us some good stuff.
Right.
Okay, so then we have, let's see. So we have Isha, all right? So she is a 44-year-old single female, okay? And she said her issue is consistency. No follow through, going MIA and then appearing months later. Love bombing, projecting, setting and sticking to boundaries. I also had another lady who was anonymous, but she said the same thing as far as consistency. She was like, I will meet these men. They seem interested in taking me on a date. And then it just turns into them talking instead of making it happen. They say all the right things, but their actions aren't matching.
Okay. So this old misconception of love bombing, we got to take responsibility of that. Like, not everything is love bombing. If I do something nice for someone and they do something that turns me off, I'm going to stop doing that nice. I didn't love bomb them. Their behavior told me to pull back. So if you're talking about somebody that's being consistent, all of a sudden that it shifts, talk about why it shifts as opposed to them just not talking to you. Like, there had to be something that happened.
Oh, wow.
So let's talk about what happened. Why are we acting like this way towards each other? What has shifted me, my interest in you, my time, my efforts, and everything? And if you don't like that, then that's an opportunity for you to make a decision at a particular time. Don't wait around for somebody who's playing games with you.
Right.
You need
Quick
to
question.
hit the sound effect.
Is that a responsibility of is that a mutual responsibility, or is that more so the responsibility of the person? Like, if something shifted, my response would be to immediately tell you why it shifted. So shouldn't that person communicate why it shifted instead of the other person having to probe them for information and be like, so you changed? Like,
Right.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't they say, like, okay, look, I just want to let you know. A little thing you did, kind of, because that's how I am.
Right.
Let's get straight to it.
Yeah, it's dual responsibility.
Yeah.
Because, again, I tell men, we hold our voices in until we about to yell. And
Oh, my God.
that does not help us get the things that we need. So if something happens, if a woman does something to him and he's like, I don't like that, we got to work on that. So it doesn't repeat, or so I don't walk away. Like this whole ghosting stuff, I'm not leaving a person with the words I want to say to them.
Right.
So I don't believe in ghosting. I believe you got to say that even on your exit, unless they do something egregious,
Okay.
of course. But yeah, we got to talk more.
So, I mean, do you feel like that the same? I mean, do you feel that way even like when you guys are just kind of like have been on a couple of dates? Because I think that what Isha was saying and the other lady was like, they may go on, they meet someone, whether it's social media, however they meet them, they go on a couple of dates. It seems like everything is great, and all of a sudden, they just go ghost.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you feel like the men are still kind of like, I don't want to say owe them, but they should still let them know that, hey, this is the reason why I'm not interested in you anymore, or because they feel like, hey, we just dating, like I don't owe you anything to tell you anything. But that, I feel like that makes women feel very discouraged when it comes down to dating, because they're like, God, I mean, I thought everything was great, like.
Yeah, but I feel like we need that honesty sometimes.
Right, but okay,
Yeah.
so I think I saw something the other day saying something about how men waste women's time in the dating process. The guy wasn't initially wasting your time. He was interested, but as he just said, the interest falls because something happened. Now, should the guy say something, see something. But I'm not really even that invested in you at this point.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. So if so if you're not invested in the lady at that point and you're not telling her, like you're just ghosting her, you just stop talking to her, and there is a consistency in that type of behavior when it comes down to the initial part of dating, like you can see why women are like, men ain't ish and I'm tired of it and da-da-da-da, because at least maybe set her up for her to kind of be better for the next situation. Tell her, like, you can't tell her, well, the reason why I'm not feeling you any longer is because you asked too many goddamn questions, or because you X, Y, and Z, or...
Well, part of that, so leaving her better for the next person, that's not our responsibility. Right, so I think our responsibility is to stay present in the moment, just like the woman, to stay present in the moment. What is happening right now? If all of a sudden everything is going well and he stops calling, be present to that. Don't be present to his consistency, be present to that particular moment. So now you know, okay, so this is who he is.
Okay.
Right? And so now I can walk away. And also for men too, have that conversation. Like, I'm present to the moment, and if I see something, I have to say something.
Right.
But it's not my responsibility to lead her in the right direction for the next person to
Right.
fix those different things.
Right.
But we do have to speak up more. We do have to talk more. And I think we also got to, because we're always collecting data. We're always watching and seeing how people respond. If a man is quiet and he's watching you do certain things and he saw you go ham on somebody else and he wants to tell you, hey, I'm not feeling this, he's not going to say that to you because I don't want to experience what you did to somebody else. If I see somebody on social media berating other men, we watching berating other men, you're not about to have me on social media being berated. So now you can go ahead and just tell them you ghosted me. I'm safe.
Wow.
That's true.
Exactly.
And I hope y'all listening, everyone. This
Look,
is
and I
good
feel like
juicy
what
stuff.
they said, what he said about men not being that invested is paramount in this conversation because, like you said, women go into this typically. Let's be real. Women don't fight me after this, but I gotta be real. Women go into this. In my head, I've always said that women we live in fairy tales.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
fairy tales have ruined us because we feel like girl meets guy, and this is my future husband. So we're thinking about stuff that men aren't even thinking about at that moment. And I always tell women, again, don't fight me for this, men date correctly in some senses because they look at it like, okay, you know what? I don't know you. I'm going to get to know you. And at that point, then we'll decide. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They don't get invested until they have a valuable reason to be invested. We're just kind of like, oh, you're nice. We're gonna get married one day, and it's like, and they just look. It's like we get so focused on the end goal that we don't realize all the work that comes before it. And it's like, no, you have to actually know this person.
Right.
You actually have to like them. They have to like you back.
Want to know this person.
You have to want to know, do everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But we just get, I want a ring, and I want this is that, and then we don't think about that.
I always say people want what they want, and that's what blinds us when we go into relationships because we're so focused on just what we want.
Yes.
And also, women put a level of unspoken pressure on themselves by telling my homegirl, telling my girl over here, telling that. So I done told them that I'm dating this guy, and now they're asking, how y'all doing? So now I got to cover up, and I got to say this, and now I got to come back around and say, well, he ain't this and he ain't that. So, yeah.
I didn't posted this picture with emoji on his face. Like, you can't be
Right.
All right, so moving along, because we are like, of course. Okay, so James is 48. He's engaged, okay? And he says, vulnerability. I've come across quite a few women who have problems with being vulnerable and trusting the process. And accountability. Having came across many women that are willing to take accountability for their roles and issues.
Yeah, that's a accountability, right.
I told y'all they gave me some good. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, accountability is tough, and I'm still trying to figure that part out. I see a lot of that in couples that I work with a lot of times, because sometimes people think accountability is weakness.
Yes,
Like if I tell you I did something wrong, you're going to hold that against me. That means I'm not going to be this strong woman. I'm not going to be this whatever it is. Even men too. Like it's this battle, internal and external battle that they have with accountability. That it's not safe for the relationship. It's not healthy for the relationship. So being vulnerable too, like it makes sense, because if you've been through all dysfunctional relationships, people are taking advantage, the level of vulnerability is not going to be there like this is your first relationship.
Yes.
So what do you need in this to be vulnerable? Y'all have to talk about what do you need as opposed to what you're not getting.
Facts. And I feel like a lot of times, people have issues with being accountable or even vulnerable, because if you come to it and you're trying to be that, but then sometimes your partner's not, sometimes that makes it a little difficult too, because it's like you're letting down walls, you're being vulnerable, you're saying, hey, you know what, I messed up in that situation. And if you have a partner that's like, yeah, you did mess up in that situation, and they're not letting their walls down and they're not being open to it, it makes it hard to do that, because you want to come to a space where it's like, hey, we're letting our walls down, there's no ego, there's no pride, we're in this together, it's you and I, we're going to work through this, we're going to fight through our issues, not fight each other, but through our issues. But I feel like a lot of times it's like I can't be in this by myself, and what's your thoughts on that, Mark?
Are you like really in it by yourself just because, like, I hate the saying people love hard. When people say they love hard, it doesn't make sense to me. Just because you love how you love doesn't make that person love you any less.
Right.
So that person could be trying.
Yes.
But at the same time, you don't see that they're trying as much as you. That's not fair to the other person.
Right, because it's different.
Right.
The way they love you is different.
Exactly. So it's real hard to sit up there and like balance that.
I'm about to gag.
What you think? Because I feel you over here.
Because I'm about to gag. Oh, God. I can't believe I'm saying this. You're right.
See, this is the problem in relationships.
What is that? Why is it so hard to just?
It's
say,
not hard for me.
okay.
It's just with
It's
him.
just a swinging.
It's only right. I can't. It's like,
you
you're
don't
right.
understand.
I can't do that.
We're gonna hear that through many shows.
No. But I'm not. I'm good on accountability. If I'm wrong, I will definitely say I'm wrong. Just because I hate hurting people in any kind of form, so I'm quick to say I'm wrong. However, one thing I do have an issue with what he said, and I'm gonna be in it because I am accountable. That's one thing I struggle with because I don't want to say I love hard, but if you had to give a universal, definition of that's what I do, and when I'm with you, I'm with you. We're going through ours together. Whatever we need. What you need? You want this? You want this? I will. Leo, we spoil our people.
That's what we do.
What you need? You want this? Okay, here you go. And then my boyfriend, on the other hand, he's not that way.
Right.
But I had to learn the hard way and realize that, okay, this is how he shows love in a different way. And that was hard. It took some trials and tribulations to get to that point because I'm like, no, you should do it like me. And it's like, you're not doing it like me, so what are you doing? Like, you don't love me. And it took a long time for me to learn that. And so what he said was essential to relationships.
Shout out to Terrence Newton. He is listening in on Facebook, and he says, Terrence Newton says that no one wants to give up ground, so no one wants to be accountable or say I messed up, and that's the problem, because at the end of the day, if this is your partner, you gotta lay all that stuff to the side. You can't have coming in there with ego and pride and I want to be right and you were wrong. It's just not going to fly, and as far as the accountability,
struggling with it right now.
She didn't even say the word. She's like,
listen, I tell you, it took me a while, but it took me finding somebody that I loved so much that I didn't want to lose. That part right there. When I found someone that I didn't want to lose, I was like, okay, you can get your shit together because we're not losing this person. So you're gonna go inside and you're gonna say, hey, I'm going to work on me, and ego, pride out the door. I'm gonna do what I have to do to keep this person in my life, and you're gonna check yourself. That's how I feel. And if you got a partner that's not willing to do that, then I just kind of feel like that may kind of speak some volumes for you.
True.
We're going to get in one more before we go to a very quick break. Chad. So Chad is 51. He's actually married, okay? And he says his issues is connecting on a level of expectations. I'm often made to feel like I'm not doing enough, even though I know that I am.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, y'all got to talk about what you need versus what you're doing. What can you do more of? Because I think sometimes we do get complacent. But sometimes we don't notice the things that we are giving because people are paying attention to the things that they're not getting. So if I'm doing something for you, and sometimes it's the wrong thing I'm doing because I didn't check in to see if you like that.
Yes. Oh, my God.
So I can't count my points when we ain't playing the same game. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I think more conversation about what do you need from me? What does it look like to give to you?
Now, then, would that be like, I mean, I know people always talking about the love languages and stuff.
I don't believe in love languages.
You don't believe in love languages.
I don't believe in them either.
But do you believe in at least talking to your partner to know that how they feel loved? Because the way that I feel loved could be totally different than how you feel loved. And if I'm trying to love you how I feel loved, you might not even be feeling love.
Right.
So I do feel like even if it doesn't come down to love languages, I do feel as though it's very important to know what is it that you need, what makes you feel loved? Because if I'm sitting here giving you gifts and you don't feel loved by getting gifts, but I feel loved by getting gifts, you're not going to feel loved. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so do you feel like that's important?
Yeah, the questions, like my wife and I, we do, like, how can I love you today?
Wow.
Specifically. And then you can keep the points of, did I do that? Did I show up that way today?
Wow.
I know my father used to give my mother flowers all the time.
Yes.
But my mother hated flowers. So he was doing it based on what he thought it was. But she didn't like that. She's allergic. It was this whole thing. So just having that conversation of And they had it years later, but I know my wife loves flowers.
Yes.
So I love to get her flowers. Every time I
Right.
go to Costco, because Costco got that big thing. And but give her the
Costco's
flowers.
got them nice flowers.
Right. So, but specifically, like, how can I love you specifically? How can I give you what you need specifically?
Wow, that's
The right
dope.
questions. You know, I believe in the right questions. A lot of people just ask questions. You know, just run them off like 21 questions instead of asking the right questions.
Yeah.
It's like I won't say a waste of time because I guess everyone moves differently. So people,
Right.
you know, are intrigued certain ways or whatever. But questions are important.
I agree.
Like,
And I
real
think when it
important.
comes down to expectations, like, you know, I mean, that's kind of hard because, yeah, you do have expectations. You may have expectations for your partner to show up for the relationship. But I feel like sometimes when you get into, I have an expectation for him to be this and to do this and to do that and to do this. And, you know, and even like you said, if you're looking at social media, or you're looking at the Real Housewives of blah blah blah, and you're expecting him to show up the way their husbands are showing up, or you're on social media and you're looking at, well, I expect you to provide and protect and then I feel like that can be very, you know, hard on any relationship, whether it's the man or the woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's too
I
much
agree
pressure.
with that. My rule of thumb, and I'm not a relationship expert, but it hasn't failed me yet, is that I go into every situation with zero expectations. I mold my expectations based off the person that I'm with, because a lot of times some people, you know, are simplistic. I'm one of those simplistic people. I've had people try to dazzle me, and I'm like, I don't want your dazzle.
Right.
Like, I'm not impressed by that. Like,
Right,
they
right.
and then on the flip, you know, the other side, they look at it like, oh, well, you know, I have this, I have this money, throw it at. I'm like, well, guess what? My value is not money, so do something else.
Right.
But it's like, people don't realize, you know, the importance of communicating exactly what it is. And I'm a fan of guidance. Even with parenting my daughter, I don't do discipline. I do guidance through every day. So if she does something great, I say, oh my God, what a great job. Good job.
Yes.
And when it's something that is negative, I say, okay, I would have liked if you would have done this instead.
Right.
And that's how I do my daughter. And so even with my relationships, I try to do that, where I say, if you do something good, like, oh, you know what, I really appreciate it when you did that. I go out of my way to say, okay, you know what, I just want to let you know that was great. So you can keep doing it. And then if if it's something that I don't like, I'm also quick to be like, okay, I didn't like that. You know, and people, it is so simple.
It is.
But it's so overlooked, and it's like, you know, it's something that I like to do, and I know it gets on his nerves sometimes, because I'm always, if it's something I don't like, I will tell you immediately, like, don't, that's not what we want to do. But I appreciate it. However, I would like this instead. And so it's a simple conversation that a lot of times is hard to have, and I feel like a lot of the reasons is because, like I said earlier, a lot of women don't know what they want.
Yes.
And they know what they think they should want, but knowing what you actually want takes self-reflection and what your life values truly are. And a lot of people, let's be real, don't know that.
That's true. And just like you said, it's about, like, communicating. I don't know what you like or what you don't like if you don't tell me.
Right.
And like you said, a lot of times when it comes down to men, sometimes they don't express that until they're ready to blow, or until they get to the point where you've done so many things that they don't like that they're like, pow.
Yeah.
But it's like, give me the ability to set, you know, to have like a blueprint of, like, okay, this is things he doesn't like, this is things that he needs to be happy, so that I'm able to work on those things. So what we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna take a really, really, really quick Boogie indie mix break, and we're gonna come back. We got a couple of more messages or comments that we got from everyone, and then we're gonna get into what's the resolutions. How can we solve these problems? How can we solve these problems? So do not go anywhere. You are live on the Miss O Show with Nina and Swangin.
And I got answers.
Question.
You're not doing it big if it's not with DJ E Boogie, 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 Boogie.
Stuff your simply room. This
it's real. That money itself, but ain't no price in the world that can cash me out, babe. Dance in the water and wine. You can't get clean in the night. You gotta let your soul grow to feel this high. And that's why I got the drugs. They don't want you back. I'm moving on from the past. Just because you feel like it, I want you.
You're now rocking with the infamous DJ E Boogie.
So crazy when you're right back. Love when you keep it coming, 3 dots that. Our conversation keeps stimulation. Cause nowadays, it ain't like that. I make it known I want you with you. You let me know you with it so gently. I wanna make you mine quickly. Ready for time to build energy. So baby, meet me, name a time and place. I know it's worth it to see a smile on your face. I'm just a mile away. Let's do some things. No time to waste. I want you to know that you're mine. No take back. I'll make sure it's her. It's quite simple. It's a 4-letter word. I want you down, 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 down. I wanna be down, down. With you, I go down, 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 down.
All right, guys, and we are back live on the Miss O Show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We truly appreciate you guys. We are talking about bridging the gap. We are talking about, we are tired of men and women having problems with connecting with one another, whether it's in relationships, dating, getting to know each other. And we're talking about, this is a roundtable. We have live with us Bashea Williams. He is the CEO, licensed psychotherapist, and author. And we thank you again for joining us.
My pleasure.
So we want to continue our conversation. So we have, do you have it up, Betty?
Yep, I sure do. All right, so Betty said emotionally unavailable. She found that a lot of men 45 and up have been hurt just as much as we have. However, it damages them to the point of not connecting emotionally to women at all.
And Betty is 55 years old, and she's in a relationship.
And that's real. A lot of times our first experiences shape the way we see relationships, the way we operate. So always in protection mode. And then we're told not to be emotional. We're told not to share certain things. And then we experience showing emotion is abused, or it's manipulated, or it's taken advantage of. So it's just like this cycle. So a lot of men are going through that and don't know what to do with it instead of as opposed to just keeping their routine.
But how does it, like, because that's really a big one. Like, I had a lot of different women that actually said that. Emotional unavailable. And when you are an emotional person, whether you have emotional intelligence as a woman or not, but when you're dealing with a man who literally, you can pour your heart out and they have like damn near zero emotions, or they literally are sharing hardly nothing when it comes down to their emotions, it is extremely hard and it's very challenging, and it gets you to the point where you're like, it's hard for you to connect. Right. So, I mean, like, what advice would you give to men that are emotionally unavailable? Because I don't think a lot of men understand how important that is to actually build a relationship and maintain and even have that intimacy in a relationship without that.
Well, there's a couple of things. When we talk about emotional unavailable, sometimes women expect men to be just as emotional or show their emotions the way they show up, which is unfair to them.
Exactly.
So we can ask, what does emotional look like? They might not have anything to really be emotional about. And sometimes women want a man to open up or tell me what happened when you're little or tell me this. Like, you want him to relive his trauma, and that's not good for anybody.
Yes. Wow.
So being emotional unavailable is, okay, so when I'm feeling a certain way, how can you show up for me, as opposed to meeting me and looking like me, being, maybe having tears and all that type of stuff. Don't expect them to do that, but just ask them, what do you need at that particular moment?
Yeah. See, y'all don't get it. Y'all just don't get it. But I won't say I'm emotionally unavailable, but I like, you got to actually show me something. Like, not just show me who you are and what you do, because, you know, people love people how they choose to love them. But for me, take the time and ask me the right questions to learn how to love me. That really doesn't happen. So it's impossible for a guy to open up if you're not even opening up the stage for him.
What's your
My thing is, like you said, kind of for me, emotionally unavailable is subjective to me. Like, how am I going to tell you you're emotionally unavailable? Am I your emotion? Am I you? So I tend not to use that word. You know, I like to just, I don't know, I hate generalizations, period, especially when it comes to dating. A lot of times people are quick to throw someone in there because they're not behaving in the way that they want them to.
Right.
And it's like, it's not, maybe it's not that, but like he said, one thing I've learned from men, again, from my current relationship, is that it takes a lot for a man to trust you enough to be open about what he feels. And sometimes it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's just that he has certain criteria where he feels comfortable and he's just not there. Or like he said, sometimes it's not a situation where it's not worth the investment, because that's an investment to a man to say, okay, you know what, I'm opening up to you. I'm giving you a part of me that I don't give anyone else. I'm investing myself in you. And a lot of times when men invest things, they want some kind of reciprocation of some point, whether it's reassurance or just the trust of knowing that it won't be pushed back in their face. And I feel like that's a big thing, but I understand a lot of men are emotionally unavailable, but I feel like at that point it's like, okay, this is what you're dealing with. If that's what you're dealing with, walk away. And it's like, if I know somebody is trying their best to not be emotionally unavailable to me, be emotionally available to me, I either feel like, okay, they don't trust me with that information, or this is not someone I want to be with. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I don't have the emotional availability to extend myself.
right?
You know, I give from my overflow. I don't give from an empty cup. And
Right.
if my overflow is not good enough, then
But I
walk
do
away.
feel like there has to be a balance, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because at the end of the day, like, you can't expect women, and I'm just being devil's advocate, you can't expect women to, you know, be emotional. If I'm emotional unavailable and you're emotional unavailable and I'm not willing to be vulnerable and I'm not willing to let down my guards and you're not willing, then we're not going to have anything.
Right.
And a lot of times I feel like it is put on the woman to, you know, be emotional available. And I'm not talking about emotions as far as like I'm crying and all this stuff. I'm talking about like emotions as far as like empathy and just coming to the relationship with, you know, having emotions as far as, hey, you lost your job. You could tell someone that you lost your job and they can be like, oh, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. You know, if you say that to your mate, they're kind of like, damn, you don't even like, I don't even feel that you are care. And that hurts a person. So my thing is like, yeah, I get all of that, and I know that a lot of men were taught to not have emotions. You don't cry, you don't do all of this. But in the same token, I feel like that's a lot to put on a woman's back to say, hey, you're going to be the one that's going to be in this relationship. You're going to be the one that's going to have the emotions, that's going to keep the emotions flowing. And regardless if I'm reciprocating that or giving you anything, you have to be the one that's going to, you know, keep that moving. I mean, sometimes women really have a hard time with dealing with that type of pressure.
Right. Definitely, I'm not expecting a woman to accept the bare minimum.
Right.
So the empathy, those basic stuff needs to be there. That goes back to the questions. What do you need from me at this particular time?
Right. Yeah.
You know, when I'm feeling bad, when I'm coming home and had a long day, what do you need from me to show that you're appreciating me just being here? To show that you see me struggling, I need you to show up for me. So those particular things you need to have in the moment and also outside of the moment.
Right.
Like yesterday, I came home and had a hard day. You didn't really say nothing. Next time, can you?
See that?
And see, that's why I say the guidance is important, because you can, if I lost my job and I say, well, you didn't respond the way I wanted to, a lot of times you're voicing that from how you would respond.
Right.
And it's one of those things where you
Yes.
say, okay, well, you know, if it's I'm big about no expectations and reciprocation, where I give a little bit to see how you react, and I try to learn. I need to feel like both partners need to work
I agree.
to learn each other, to know what reciprocation looks like.
Right.
What
'Cause
is
it's different
deemed
for
as
different
valid?
people.
Yeah,
Right.
it's different. That's why I say I don't do generalizations. Period.
No,
when it
not
comes
at
to
all.
relationships.
Okay, so do you have it up or you don't have it up? Okay, so we have Ian. Ian, he's a 42-year-old single male. And he says approaching women. Okay, so walking up to a woman and actually trying to talk to them is challenging. You don't want to disrupt anyone's space, so you have to resort to online. Okay, and then online, you have to deal with there's a ton of other men, so you have to do something that's pretty much outside the box to get her attention. And then when you do that, of course, that's difficult, and women judge you on how you look. Some that might say you look like a player. You met online, and then they're like, oh yeah, well, you must do this all the time because you met me online, so you must be meeting a lot of women. He says it kind of deters a man from doing that because you have to work so much harder. There's already a push towards the back door. And he says some women do not value a man for wanting to get to know her as a friend first instead of actually just diving into a committed relationship.
So there was a couple of different things in that.
You gotta understand, like when I was like, it was really interesting because when I reached out to different people, it was like I got paragraphs, and it was like people really wanted to share. And what I learned from all this is like people are really like having issues with this, and I didn't even realize it. Like I had paragraphs and messages, so I try to simplify as much, but yeah, it's a lot in there.
So going back to the beginning, now I got to put on my memory. Right. That's right. So going back to the beginning,
women and
right,
online
approaching
dating,
women.
yeah.
So don't necessarily look at it as disrupting somebody.
Okay.
Presence or whatever they're doing, because how else are you going to get to know somebody?
Right.
So if they respond like you interrupting them or like you get out of here, then that's not your person.
There you go.
So don't get offended by that, by somebody's responses to you saying hello or whatever that is. Online dating, I mean, you gotta be different. You gotta be you, really. As long as you're being you, there's nothing inauthentic about your approach.
Right.
But also you have to look at what your approach looks like. If you're abrasive, if you're aggressive and all that type of stuff.
Then that's go to bed,
right. So I mean, you got to pay attention to that too. So there's those different things that we put the responsibility on the other person when our approach is off.
Right. There. Oh, there you go.
I was gonna say the same.
Yeah.
You got it. Because that was the nail on the head.
Right.
You can't be mad at someone not wanting to talk to you, like in person. Yeah. You can't be mad that your approach is wrong online. Mm-hmm. That's that part right there. Mm-hmm. So that has nothing to do with the woman in that little situation right there.
Mm-hmm. And what about the women? Like, so he also made the comment as far as like some women, you meet them, and so he said he was like, I'm a gentleman and I'm really trying to court her, but I prefer to be friends first. Like I want to get to know her, and then like next thing you know, she's like, okay, well, what are we and what are we doing and da da da, and she's like, so what are your thoughts on that?
It really depends. Like how long are we talking about we being friends?
Right.
Like that's so loaded because if you trying to be friends for a year and then say you know what I'm saying, that's a whole bunch of. So it really depends. But I think we should get to know people.
Yes.
But also we got to take the relationship expectations off of that too. Mm-hmm. Like if we're just being friends, then we got to operate as friends. Do friends allow other people to date? Is that okay? Right. You can't call me a player if we just friends. Right? So it's so many, again, communicate. Ask these things.
Communicate and also know what you want. Like I've had people where it's like, they're like, oh yeah, well I don't, hey, I'm just doing me. I don't care what happens. And like, so then you go into the situation like that, but then you get upset when y'all have been on a few days and they're just like hearing you like, you're like, I don't care what happens. And you're like, well, I mean, they didn't ask me to be exclusive, and he hasn't, like, he's dating other women. Okay, well, that's what you presented, and you said you were okay with that. So I do think that is something that, a lot of, I'm not just saying women because men too, but you have to be crystal clear about what it is that you want. And you also have to be able to be communicative. I'm not saying that you meet a person off the break, you sit down and you're like, I want to be married, I want kids, So what is your thoughts on that? Like
asking, like, what does friendship look like? What is courting look like? What does exclusivity look like?
Those are the questions that no one ever asked.
Right.
Because it looks different.
Because that's what my wife asked me when we started dating. She was like, so what does that look like? Are we dating other people? I said, yeah. Because I wanted to date other people. She was still dating other people until I saw she was dating somebody else, and I was like, okay, wait a minute. Now I wanted that. Because nobody is giving me what I need, and she was, and I was just like, let me stop playing around. This is who I want to be
I'm
with.
not gonna lose this
Right.
beautiful queen. Okay,
And
I don't want you
you
dating
meet
nobody.
somebody, and when you meet somebody like that, then that's exactly what you're gonna do.
Yeah. Right.
You gonna pull everything to the side right there.
Right. And for me, I'm gonna go ahead and dig in my marketing degree bag, and I'm gonna say it like this: read the room. You know what I mean? When it comes to approaching women, if you have an ideal woman in your mind that you're attracted to, right? Is when you're doing marketing, you have a target audience. The target audience are the people that you want to target to. When you have your target audience, your first goal is to get to know that target audience. What is the audience like? What don't they like? What is this something that's going to make them happy? What's going to make them sad? Right? And so when you do that, if I'm a whole 36 years old and you in my inbox talking about go to bed, Miss Lady, bloop. You know what I mean? If I'm 36-year-old and you in my face telling me to smile, bloop. But if you come to me, again, learn your target audience, know what they like, what they don't like. Again, it's like you're not going to know that person per se, but you have a general idea of what's going to work and what's not going to work. And that's your first step as far as approaching women, because we're not as difficult as people try to make it seem in a lot of senses, especially when it comes to approaching us. And a lot of times, in my experience as a woman, I'm sure you can agree, most men come at us wrong. And they have this thing, but I'm a nice guy. Are you, Greg? Are you? Because a lot of
guy, you don't have to tell
exactly. If you're a nice guy, why do you have to tell me that you're a nice guy? Because if you're telling me you're a nice guy, that's not telling me who you are. That's telling me what you're working towards. Because if that's what you truly are, then be that. It's like be that nice guy, and just tell me exactly, you know. And then again, like you said, be honest about it and say, okay, you know what, this is what I want to do, this is what I want. And if that person's not with that, you can usually I swear people complicate things sometimes just by trying to make up scenarios in their head. No, you have this person, I like this person, hi, I want to be friends. Okay, well, what does a friend look like to you? Because I've actually got accused of being a jerk for that, because before, you know, my relationship, if it was something I was like, look, I came to it like, look, this is what I want. And I was very big about it. This is exactly what I want. I don't want any more. This is what you will not do. This is what we cannot do. And this, if you step over this, you know, they're like, okay. Because they're not used to that. Because people literally operate off vibes in these streets. And it's like, be real.
But I will say this. So, like, when I started dating my boyfriend, like, I went in with no expectations. And we went on dates, and I just wanted to have fun. I didn't want to, like, I wasn't, like, thinking like, oh, we're going to be in a relationship and I want a relationship. You know, I was working on myself. I was healing. I was healing from trauma. Like, I was really doing the work. And when I went on my date with him, I just was like, I just want to experience his energy. I want to show up. I want to have fun. I want to have a great conversation, and whatever is going to happen is going to happen. And so when I came with him with that, like, he got an energy from me that wasn't expecting. It wasn't hard. It wasn't like where he felt like he had to perform. I just want to know you, like, who, like, you know what I'm saying? And because I felt like, because I was that way, I know one of the things that he always said to me was like, it was easy. You know, the conversations flowed. I didn't feel like you were like asking me questions. Hey, what do you do? Who are you? What do you know? What do you have kids? What do you have? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, what do you do? How much you make? How many baby mamas you got? Like, you know, and like, it's like an interview. And I feel like a lot of people, whether it's men or women, but I hate to say it, a lot of times it's women that do that for men, that they feel like they're on a job interview. And it's like, you know, and a lot of times when you meet the person or you actually get into something, it's when you're just like, you're just free. You know, you're just open to just sharing energy with this person, and whatever happens. And I think like that's the biggest thing with a lot of men.
And then the artificial qualifiers. Women think, oh, I got a good job, a degree, I ain't got no kids, I'm a good woman.
Right.
Same thing with men. I ain't got no kids. That has nothing to do with character. That is your bio.
It doesn't.
You cannot find a mate with a bio alone. Yeah, that's cute to attract, but that does not connect.
It doesn't. Exactly. So moving along, we have Tanisha. She is 39 and she is divorced. Okay, she says, I do not feel protected by a lot of men. And also, I feel like men do not want to be providers. It's always who's paying for this and that, and I'm always made to feel like I am in the wrong for wanting someone that wants that I feel like I'm in the wrong for wanting someone that wants to actually court me and invest. A lot of men feel like just because they take you out, it means that you're supposed to have sex with them or be intimate with them, and then they get upset when you actually decline.
So again, we got many different things in there.
Yes.
So the whole situation about courting, what is courting to you? What is courting to them? Again, we're still having the same conversation. What do you need in that particular environment? Like, are you expecting somebody to provide from you from day one?
Right.
Like, why are you talking about, I need you to take care of me from day one? You're already setting up this idea that you're unapproachable. Like, all you want is money.
Yes.
All you want is shelter. All you want, and that's telling me, and then you showing up like you got it all, like you're independent, you've done all these things, but then you're telling me that you need me to do this for you. Like, how does that make sense?
What he just said.
Because that one there.
Like, seriously, no. Like, I always ask, is there a way for you to repeat that? Because I don't know if they really heard what you just said. Like, that's really important that what you just said.
Yes,
that's very valuable. You're saying, like, hey, you're showing up like I got it all together. I'm doing my thing. I'm a boss, blah, blah, blah.
Pay my bills.
But pay my bills.
Right.
Yeah.
But take care of me. Take me out of my situation. Meet me where I meet myself. Like, if you got your whole resume, you did all that work. You did all that work without somebody else.
Ooh.
So you built the stamina, how you operate, but you can't operate that same way with another person.
Right.
So y'all got to talk when y'all get to that point, not up front. Like, you definitely want to know if somebody can take care of themselves, right? And what does reciprocity look like? What does equality look like? What does relationship building look like? But we're not focused on this money that I need to see your money take care of mine. Like, it's a conflict, external, internal conflict, and that's why people miss each other, because they're so focused on that outer appearance and what it looks like.
That part.
Definitely.
People love bios, and they love to be able to say, my man take care of that. And it's like, and then a lot of times they'll do that, and then when they get a man that actually does a lot of those things, they feel intimidated. Then they don't know what to do with it. And then they automatically look at it like, okay, what he's trying to do, what he's trying to hide.
Or more so, it's a thing of, well, now he's trying to control me. Because he has this now over me. I wanted this, but I didn't want all of this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's a big problem. It's good to have until you realize what you actually have sitting in front of you.
And I just kind of feel like a lot of times when it comes down to the part where she says she feels like she's not being protected and she don't feel safe, I feel like, a lot of times we take this one situation where you may see something on social media where a woman was going through something and nobody, came in and tried to help her, and it's like all of a sudden black men are not taking care of women, or they're not running to their, but I don't feel like that is not the whole. Like, I truly don't, and it's a generalization 100%. And even when it comes down to being a provider and I expect him. I've had so many people say, okay, well, I expect him to pay for everything for every single day. And I will tell you this: when I first started dating my boyfriend, we went on a couple of dates. Of course, he paid for those dates. He courted me with those situations. But after a couple of dates, I was like, I want to take you out. I want to treat you. I didn't feel any type of way, because this is how I looked at it. I looked at it like, hey, I want to see you more than once a week. And if I want to see you more than once a week, I can't expect you to take me out and spend $100 because we're going out to dinner, and you're going to do this, 2 or 3 times a week? Like, I can't expect that of you. And then some women are not willing to do the we're going back and we're going to do a Netflix and chill. You're not willing to do that at the beginning. So if you're not willing to do that at the beginning and you want him to take you out, okay, you're not thinking about this man's financial situation. Okay, granted, everyone's not out here balling out of control where they can spend $100 Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday. Okay, you're not thinking about this person that you're trying to date. You're in this fantasy world that this man can take you out 3 times a day, 3 times a week, because God forbid if he only sees you 1 time a week and he don't call and follow up, then it's a problem. So 3 times a week. Okay, so that's $100 on Tuesday, $100 on Thursday, and $100 on Saturday, and you're sitting there being pretty.
Yeah. And
you get pretty.
And they confuse courting with the bidding. It's not an auction. It's not. You're not auctioning for my affection. You're not. And a lot of times it gets mixed up again with the generalization, social media, this, that, another. Because I seen something talking about, oh, my first day should be a trip. Oh, so they can go and kill you. You want to go get killed? Like it's like a lot of times they equate. That's why I hate the term high value man, high value woman. That makes my skin crawl. And if I hear it one more time, I'm flipping the table. Because a lot of times we hear this term and we're like, oh, because when you say that, you're equating value to money. And a lot of the times the things, yes, that looks good on paper, that looks good on social media, but never has your soul required $1. No. What do you need inside? And a lot of times we skip all that and we just want what looks good to other people. And we want to be able to make statements. I'm married. Or they want to say, I want to make a statement of, oh, you know, my man took care of this and my man take care of that. And they are willing to compromise everything within themselves for arbitrary things just because it looks good in society. And then they wonder why they feel unanchored in a relationship. You don't feel unanchored in a relationship because you're anchored. And then on top of that, money can go. So the man can have a 6-7 figure job and he can lose it, and if that's all you're with him for, and if that's how he has to show his worth, then you're going to view him as unworthy, and we see it all the time. That's why it's dangerous. That's why every transpiration you always hear me say, it always goes back to you as a person. Who are you as a person? If you're not giving me, you can have a man that doesn't have a lot of money, but he is committed and dedicated to you, and it's like, we mess up sometimes. So I just say for Tanisha, like, and then also with the protection thing, like you said, sometimes they can see things like I said before, if you're in a room and someone says, point out everything that's blue, over and over again, when you walk out that room, you're going to be hypersensitive to everything that's blue. So you have to check yourself and realize, okay, what source did this come from? Why do I feel this way? Like, what made me feel like this is, what is protection to me? Take away the society bullcrap. What is it to you? Because protection for me is like, let's be a partnership, let's have the back. You know, it's just really identify those things. But I feel like we skip that. And we don't define a damn thing for ourselves and expect people to define it for us, and we don't even know what it is ourselves. So we live life confused.
That's right.
Right. And I know again, protection. Like, are you putting us in a situation where I have to be brawn? Like, I gotta be a soldier. Right. You know so what is, and sometimes silence is protection. Because something I can say can really hurt you. So we really got to identify what protection is. And I'm not saying nobody should be disrespecting you. I'm not saying nobody should be, getting you out of harm's way without injuring themselves. Like, they can literally say, hey, don't go over there. I know that area is not a good area to go, but you're independent. You've been doing things. I'm good over here. You saw because you telling me not to go if you scared. I ain't scared. I just, how old am I to me? I need to go in there and put myself in danger. So really talk about what protection looks like.
That part. Definitely that part.
So I have a quick question for you. Like, titles are just what they are, but labels I hate more than titles. Like the love languages and the, high value man or woman. Like, do you think labels are killing us as well?
Yeah, I think it's a setup because you're so focused on that label that you miss the person. So even like love languages, like I talked about it in my book, but I talked about it as like words of affirmation. Like, if I'm insecure and you telling me that I can't do this, then you're affirming my insecurity. So those words aren't building me; they're keeping me in the place where I'm at. Like, and if I'm not vibing with you, if I like physical touch, I don't want to touch you. So does that mean my love languages no longer exist? No, just we need to fix some stuff before we go to that. High value man, that's a whole show. Like,
that's a whole nother show. Like, can we add it? Because I don't.
Because what you determine what value is. Like, the value character is not laced in what you look like, how you present yourself. Like, it's like my character, like my soul. Like, how do I speak to you? Do I respect you? That's high value.
Talking about that, can I actually ask your advice on like the people that actually do follow that stuff? Like, there are some men that actually follow the red pill and the Kevin Samuels and different things like that. Like, what is your advice on that? Like, because some men say if there's men that really struggled with meeting women and all the things they didn't really get good experiences from. So then they reverted to like, looking at the Kevin Samuels or the red pill stuff. Like, what is your advice on that type of stuff?
I unmask all of that and say, how you feeling? Like, what you going through that you identify with that? Because we're talking about somebody who he'll say go to therapy after he gave you poison. Like, literally, he'll do all, and he mixes things within it that make sense. Like, not all of his information is bad. And that's just like everybody, too. Like, some people might think my information is bad.
Gotcha.
So I'm not comparing it, but you just got to be careful because some men do come to my practice and say something. And I'm like, bruh, really? Let's think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Like, and just step outside of the character and say, what is that coming from and what is that protecting? Is that protecting the little boy that got hurt when he was 5, 7, 12, 13, whatever that was?
Yeah.
Or is that the big man trying to protect the little man? So right now, we need to have a conversation of where you're getting this and why you believe in that.
Right. I love it. So we got one more before we could take another break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about the resolution, okay? Because we got to talk about how we're going to solve these problems. We know there's some problems and some issues, and we got to talk about how we're going to solve these issues. So we got one more. We got Terrence. So Terrence is 38 years old, and he is in a relationship, and he has experienced imposter syndrome, okay? So the most consistently difficult thing that he has experienced is connecting to women, is that they are so guarded in many cases. Despite their character, their career, their accomplishment, success, income, beauty, they seem to be stuck in their failure. And who let them down? Who hurt them? And no matter what you tell them, they cannot see themselves the way that you see them.
So I'm wondering if he's saying is the woman the imposter or he's the imposter?
Well, I don't know about that, but I guess, I think he's saying the women's imposter,
So the women are hiding behind their success, but really
but really they're fragile because they can't see past their failure, and they're still, regardless of how beautiful they are and how much they have succeeded, they cannot see themselves as you actually see them.
So part of that is he's taking on too much of the responsibility of them healing. Like, that is not our responsibility to heal a person. We just support a person through their process, right? So the environment is like, a lot of us, just black people in general, think that we go through imposter syndrome, but it's really the systems that are created that make us look like imposters, where we are brilliant, we are great, we're capable, we're all those things. So when you think about a relationship and somebody you're telling them, like, you're beautiful, and they're like, nah, I don't believe it. You can be consistent until some point where you're not exhausted. At some point, it's like, okay, I tried to love you the way that I loved you. I tried to love you the way that you told me to love you, but you can't receive it. So I can't exhaust myself. I can't kill you. I can't kill myself trying to love you.
That part.
That's solid, man. Like, come on. But people just give other people too much energy and too much responsibility. And the imposter syndrome, as you said, like, who are you talking about? Like, the imposter is you trying to be everything to everyone, and you're not even yourself at this point.
And I do feel like, again, it's so important to heal before even getting into situations, because, when you're trying, you have a lot of people that's trying to date, that's trying to be in relationships and all of that, and they still haven't healed from adult trauma, childhood trauma, and they're literally projecting some of that onto the people that they're dating or they're in relationships with. So, of course, if you're sitting here telling me you're beautiful, and you're this and you're that, but I still haven't healed from my daddy problems when my daddy told me I wasn't shit, I'm not hearing it. I'm not seeing it. You can tell me until I turn purple. So that's why I'm really big on telling people to heal and to work on yourself so that you're able to come whole before you even try to attempt to even get out here and put yourself into a situation. Yeah, you might want to date or whatever, but I'm saying, like, you cannot come into a situation and you're still healing. You're still, like, dealing with trauma, because you're not going to be able to come whole in that situation. The things that person says, the things that person do, you always going to be looking for the other shoe to drop. You always going to be like looking for, like, okay, well, my daddy did this, I'm waiting for you to do it too.
Right.
So there's another level of healing that happens within a relationship, because you can heal, you can do all the work by yourself, but you have not been triggered.
No, and you are mostly triggered in relationships.
Right.
Okay, that's
So-
when you get your real healing.
Right. Because you still got them scars, you got them
baby.
injuries from previous relationships. So now the relationship needs healing.
Yes.
Right. So what can we
Yes.
do together? Counseling, go to different retreats or whatever that is to really hear each other, so you can heal each other through that process, that particular relationship.
Right.
Yep.
So to say something real quick, because I know we talked about it on the last break. My marriage, and then I had a girlfriend, 2 different situations before they start saying something. But you know what I'm saying? I went to therapy for both.
Okay.
It was their idea, and I said, you know what? Have at it, let's go. Because at the time, I wanted what I had, But both of them, we went. They picked the doctors and everything, but 2 or 3 sessions, they was like, nope. Because I think, to me, a mirror was put in front of them to where they didn't want to hear anymore.
Right.
People heal in their own time, and people heal, and you can't start healing. It's like what they say, the quote they have about change. People do not change until the pain from remaining the same outweighs the pain of change. Woo. They have to be tired. In my terms, they have to be sick of their own shit. Yes. And until they get sick of their own shit, there is nothing you can do or say. And then in the meantime, to keep yourself out of your feelings, when people ask me about relationship stuff, because for some reason people call me relationship stuff all the time. But when I tell them, I say you have 2, when you're having a conversation with somebody, and this goes outside of just relationships, you have 2 responsibilities. You have one responsibility to actively listen to what they're saying. If they're telling you like, okay, I don't feel that, you actively listen and understand, okay, they're not understanding, what I'm trying to say, and note it in your mind, like, okay, well, maybe there's something there that maybe I can help it or not, but you have to help from your overflow. And then secondly, the biggest thing is you have to realize that whatever that person says, no matter if it makes sense to you or not, is valid to them. It's valid and it's usually valid to them for deeper reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with you. However, if you're going to be with that person, it's going to affect you in some kind of way. So you have to first decide, is this something that I want to deal with? Am I ready emotionally? Because again, get from your overflow. Am I emotionally ready to help heal this person? Keyword is help, because a lot of times people seek relationships to heal and to fill voids that they don't even know exist. And you have to, and a lot of people don't do the work to know where those voids are. Yeah. So you have to say, okay, you know what, am I willing to work through this? Even through whether it was counseling, conversation, conflict, it doesn't matter. Do I have the emotional capacity to deal with this? Yeah. And if you do, be ready for a war. Right. Because it's going to be a war on that end.
And I want to go back to what you were saying, because that happens a lot when people bring their boyfriends or husbands to the therapy session and think that I'm supposed to fix the husband or get the husband to agree or the boyfriend to agree with them because they want them to be fixed. The relationship is my client. Right. So you got to be able to be held accountable, because sometimes the men, because everybody gets checked in there. Yes. Even myself. And I always say in the first session, like, feel free to check me. If I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, check me. So that way we're all on neutral ground and we're going to address this relationship, because you are going to see yourself. The therapist's job is for you to see how you're showing up in the relationship on both sides. Yeah. And if you're not ready for that, don't bring that man to therapy thinking that you got somebody, a teammate against that man, right?
I'm not going to lie. That's what a lot of women going like, tell him by himself.
Right.
And I don't even say this as a woman. Me and my boyfriend in therapy now, they'll say like, well, that was wrong. I'm like, excuse me? And I feel like that also goes back to the woman internalizing that we are always the prize. Yes. Sometimes you are honorable mention.
There you go.
You're not always the prize.
You're not always the prize.
Sometimes and it's hard because we have gotten it beat into us that we are always the prize. We do no wrong, because I guarantee any woman that talks about an ex, he was toxic and I was perfect and he didn't appreciate me. That's the way it goes. So a lot of times we just don't want to hear it. It's like either they're going to accept it or they're not.
They're not. Right. So what we're going to do is listen. So we're going to take our final, really, really quick DJ E Boogie Indie Mix, and we come back. We want to talk about the resolution, okay? We didn't talk about the issues, and we want to like wrap this up and talk about some resolutions. Bashea Williams is going to give us some ideas and some suggestions of what you guys can do, and all of us can do to make sure that we have better relationships, better situations, better, connecting to the opposite sex. So do not go anywhere. It's going to be a really quick break. When we come back, we got the resolutions, and we also going to find out what Bashea Williams has going on and what's coming up for him and all that good stuff. You are live on the Miss O Show with Swangin' and Nina.
The infamous DJ E Boogie. Boogie.
Get money out here. Nah, like we really get money. Yeah. My new watch on TikTok. Diamonds dancing, TikTok. Helly Hansen, drip, drop. New designer, flip flops. I get money, big knots. Might go viral, tick, top, tick tock. Look at her go. Got the biggest whoa, I know. All you wanna do is show it all. Turn around, go viral. Turn around, go viral. Turn around, go viral.
You're not doing it big if it's not with DJ E Boogie.
Turn around, go viral. They know me and Heat go way back. Strapped with the heat, they back. They ain't love me back then. Now I charge double, that's payback. Y'all in trouble indeed. Make a run like DMC. Yeah, I moved to the A, but my heart in a DMV. Put your hands up, rock 'em. Put your legs out, drop 'em. Corvette. Soon as I pull up, rob 'em. Used to never fit in, now they can't get in. Everywhere that I go, a problem. Said I used to be a Bama. Now I'm riding by while you still walking. You Santana. And I'm flying high, might go viral if I Instagram you. And if you need that work, I got it for you. I'll Instagram you. Hold up. My new watch on TikTok. Diamonds dancing, TikTok. Helly Hansen, drip, drop. New designer, flip flops. I get money, big knots. Might go viral, tick, top, tick tock. Look at her go. Got the biggest whoa, I know. All you wanna do is show it all. Turn around, go viral. Turn around, go viral. Turn around, go viral. Turn around, go viral. Turn around, go viral.
All right. We
Welcome
are
back. Did Brian turn my mic off again?
Thank God. I know. If he didn't, he needs to turn that off.
You already know what's coming. I asked the question
He
already.
is not on our side today.
He's not. You know what? But again, everyone tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in to the Miss O Show all over. We truly appreciate you guys. We have been talking about bridging the gap. We have live with us in studio Bashea Williams. And just real quick before we go into the resolution of how we can better engage each other, how we can better connect with each other, I definitely want to give a shout out. So I want to give a shout out to our show team. Shout out to our engineer, Brian Lyles. Without him, we would be nothing. Understand. He makes it all happen. All that stuff y'all see on the television and everything is because of him. So make sure you follow him at BTB Picks. Ooh, boom. I wrote it down tonight. I wrote it down. I am excited. Shout out to DJ E Boogie. He is when you hear the indie mix during our breaks, that is our DJ. Shout out to him. Make sure you follow him at DJ E Boogie. Also, shout out to our photographer. He's not with us tonight, but shout out to our show photographer, Sudan. Make sure you follow him on Instagram at __refinery_by_Sudan. And I just need people to make sure they have some easier goddamn going, because I can.
A couple of underscores out.
All these underscores, like,
many Sudans,
it just be too much for me. Like, it's hard trying to remember all this stuff, okay?
He around and forgot his password.
I'm trying to tell you, it's just too much. So, as we said, we were talking about bridging the gap, and now we want to talk about some resolutions. So, how do we resolve these issues? I mean, I know you talked about earlier about therapy. Do you feel like, would you advise individuals to have therapy, whether it's like have individual sessions and couples therapy, or like, is that something that you advocate?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's beneficial because I got to know myself before I jump into this relationship. So I'm not all over the place expecting somebody to give me what I need when I don't know it. So even if you don't want to embrace therapy, there's coaching, right? That's a little lighter side of just some form of advocacy, some support, and whatever that is, through coaching. or get into some groups, have some healthy conversations. Like these are like healthy conversations. Sit in front of this. What did you get from this? Have a round table with your own folks. So have the healthy conversation as opposed to the bashing. Women ain't this, men ain't this, because you're embracing that, and everything that you hear, you're absorbing it.
Yeah.
That's definitely facts. Because again, social media is one of the things that force bad habits on us in relationships and even lifestyles in general. You know, as you said, they highlight reels. So you see someone doing good, next thing you know, you wondering why you not doing the same thing they doing, and it goes to the relationships. Oh well, they went to dinner on Tuesday. We ain't went out since last Sunday.
Right.
Like, what's wrong with us?
Right.
So you just got to kind of remove yourself from the images that you see and never compare yourself to anyone, whether it's a relationship or as an individual. You'll find more happiness that way.
No.
For me, again, like I said, you know, your reality is a collection of the experiences that you entertain. Entertain what fuels you. Learn what fuels you. Take some time to, you know, and a lot of times women, and again, this goes back to something I've said before, where people essentially feel like time and, you know, is a factor where I'm 45, I should be married.
Right.
And time is not essentially real.
Right.
Okay. You have to define life for yourself and be bold enough to know yourself, because that actually takes a level of audacity to say, you know what? I know what you're saying. I know what I see, but this is what I want.
Right.
And to actually take off that filter and really look at what you want, what you need based on what you have accepted in your life. And don't accept anything in your life. A lot of times people complicate things, say, well, they don't have this and they don't have that. Do you know what you want? Where are your boundaries? A lot of times people aren't violating their boundaries.
Yes.
They're operating off of a lack of boundaries.
Right.
Have those boundaries and get rid of the list of what the man should have and create a list of what you should have. People should add to your happiness. They should not create it.
Yeah.
And that's just my biggest thing. Just truly get to know yourself. Remove the generalizations. Remove the expectations. And because a lot of times you'll be surprised. Some of the situations that you feel like are not ideal are best for parts of you that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
So you have to just totally just go with it and just trust yourself, trust the decisions that you make, and trust your instinct. If something is not right, trust that.
No, I totally agree. And I mean, like, to piggyback off of everything that everyone said, I think that is very essential to do the work. You have to do the individual work. Like, I cannot say enough that, you know, when I was still healing from things that I had been through, I was not able to see a good man. I didn't know what that looked like. You know what I mean? Because I had dealt with what I dealt with in adult trauma, in my childhood trauma. So I was used to dealing with what I was used to seeing and experiencing. So in order for me to be able to see someone that's good for me, I had to really do the healing. I had to do the work. And so I think that is very essential to do the work and do the healing. But like you said, I mean, it's a whole other part of it when you're actually in a relationship, because you're triggered in those relationships. Right. But that's when you get, I feel like that's when you get almost even more healing, because you're now triggered by, like you said, someone who you love. And if you really love this person and they're triggering you, you're going to find conflict resolution. You're going to find out ways to heal yourself. You're going to figure out ways to change some of the ways that might not be. It is no more of, hey, this is me, accept me who I am. No. This is who I am, whether accept me or get going. You know, there's not going to be any more of that, because you're like, hey, I don't want to lose this person. But I do feel like it's essential that you have to work on yourself, and you have to understand that, hey, there are some times you're coming to a situation and you're messed up. You've done some things that you need to be accountable for. So the last final one of this before we go into, we wrap up, is you know, one of the things that a lot of the women said was the men being more consistent and being emotional available. And one of the things that men said more is women learning to be more vulnerable and letting their guard down and taking some accountability. So Bashea, what is some advice that you would give to the women for being more vulnerable and being more accountable, and to the men for being more consistent and emotionally available?
I think taking responsibility for what I'm doing, who I am, how am I showing up. So vulnerability for me, I learned vulnerability is a superpower. Like, and I'm gonna let you know that this is my superpower, and what are you gonna do with it?
Right.
So if I give you my vulnerability, you take advantage of it, I'm taking it back. So I'm not afraid of you seeing that, but you are making me aware of what you would do with it.
Right.
So when you talk about that, it's so empowering to be who I am and be good in my skin, and knowing that I can feel bad one day and feel good the other day, and I'm not a weak person because I felt like this. That was just a moment. I'm not tied to that. But again, communicate. Tell people what you need. Tell people what you want. Be able to adjust in relationships.
Yes.
You're not losing your identity. You're adjusting to a moment or a particular thing.
Right.
So, yeah, I think just those things in short.
Wonderful. Well, of course, we have to let everyone know what you got coming up, because, this is your time for you to promote yourself. I know you got like so many events coming up and all that good stuff. So let everyone know how they can follow you, what events you got coming up, you and your beautiful wife. She is live in studio, guys. Y'all can't see her, but she over there looking all beautiful and fly. I wish I could have brought her on camera too. We're going to bring her back. We're going to do a couples time, because, I love black love. So we're going to bring her on the next time. But let us know what you guys got going on, you yourself, and how they can also follow you and keep in touch.
Well, everything is Bashea Williams. That's Bashea Williams. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Google, whatever it is. My website is Bashea Williams.
And can you spell that?
Sure.
Okay.
B is in boy, A is in apple, S is in Sam, H is in Henry, E is in Edward, A is in apple, Williams. That's everything Bashea Williams. Me personally, the only event I have is coming up is my mental health on my block. Okay. It's a free event for African Americans. We're providing free therapy, providing music, food, all types of stuff for everybody. And it's Montgomery County residents. If you are in Montgomery County, you can get free therapy through me. Wow. I have about 100 clinicians that can serve you. So reach out to that. My wife has an event coming up, Design Your Destiny, December 11th, where she does a vision board, but she really breaks down what you need, your declarations and all that. So she had to do that in order to get me. So
but that's the air prayer, okay?
Right. And then we have our Win Love Alliance event, which is it's next August. So get on the waiting list for that. We just had it this last August. It was amazing. So everything else is like random pop up things. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. Definitely following. So listen, we want to thank everyone that has tuned into this roundtable. Of course, it went by so fast, but hopefully everyone took something away from this roundtable. Of course, we're going to have part 2. Next time, we're going to have his beautiful wife, Tara, with us, because, she could be sitting over here and helping the ladies. I'm just saying.
I'm going to sign both of them up for both of y'all.
Whatever. Okay. We good. We the ones got relationships. Your ass over there single. Okay.
See, that's what we talking. We just went through this whole thing. Ain't nobody learned nothing.
This is what happens all the time.
Right. All that unpacking right there. All that in the back.
Oh God. But anyway, guys. So listen, we are live next week. What is that? November. Notice we still in October.
Well, next time will be
November? Yeah, so November. No, it's November. I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway.
Can y'all November. I'll
let you know. But make sure you can follow your girl, Miss O, at Paris K Style on Instagram. Facebook is Omika Polk. How can they follow you, Nina?
They can follow me at just.nina, just.nnena.
And you swanging, how can they swang your way?
Marco the Great 01 on Instagram, and Mark Swangin, SWANGIN on Facebook. Mark with a C.
Yes. And make sure you follow us all. And if you haven't done so already, as I said, make sure you download that RIP Radio Network app and follow us. We have some really great things coming up in November. Like, I can't give it out, but it's some real good stuff. I'm going to say it's a national artist. Y'all going to be like super excited. Like, I'm like, So thank you again so much for tuning in to the Miss O Show with Swangin' and Nina. And thank you, Bashea Williams, for joining us tonight. We truly appreciate you. We had a great round table, and we will see you guys next Monday.